Hello flight simmers, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the next full flight video. We had a poll going on my community tab on YouTube, and it has been a very close race, and turned out that as of time of recording, Bogotá is heading just by a tiny margin, 26%, and closely followed by both Nice and Berlin, both at 22% of the votes. So very close call this time. 150 votes have come in from you guys, so thanks a lot for putting in your vote. And yeah, here is your winner, although just by a very close margin. And yeah, I figured I will start with this one, and then maybe Berlin and Nice, both pretty good airports to fly on v5.1 for some upcoming videos maybe. So for those of you who voted for the other airports, you might get to see those as well. Speaking about v5.1, yeah, this flight no ATC online right now, so I've put in AI traffic, and here we are in very good company. Some other Avianca Dreamliners lining up behind us, and yeah, we can see there through the terminals some other aircrafts on the other side. Yeah, very beautiful setup here in Bogotá. I think it's not the first time we see this airport. We have been flying in from Miami with the 747 once, well, that's some time ago, but I believe it is the first time departing Bogotá, and that is super interesting because the airport is quite high. I think elevation around 8,000 feet. I'm going to double check when we are in the cockpit, of course. Yeah, that makes, especially on a long haul flight, the departure quite interesting, although with the 787-8, which is a super powerful aircraft, I think climbing out even from 8,000 feet should not be a big issue. And yeah, regarding the flight, we are heading over to Madrid, which is a flight of around 8.5 hours, and we are departing at afternoon time, I think 2:30 p.m. local time, somewhere around that. And then we will get to Madrid in the early morning around 7 a.m. Not quite sure when the sunrise is these days in Madrid, but we might be just in for a pretty nice sunrise landing over there. Right, GSX is already very well advanced with the boarding, so let me get inside the flight deck, and so we can start to set up. Yeah, so altitude is 8,400 almost, so quite high. I think the only one that I really know of in terms of altitude which is higher is Quito. I think that has even a few feet more than Bogotá, but not too sure on that one. And yeah, regarding the route, it is loaded in already. Avianca 26 over to Madrid on the 30th of April. And yeah, what to set up? Maybe the departure. Let's have a quick look at the weather together. So here for El Dorado Airport, winds 270 at 4, okay. Temperature is 14. Clouds 1,700 feet above ground level. Altimeter is 3038. Does that mean we have to be in inches? I believe so. Okay, so apparently we need to be in inches, so let's set this up. 3038, okay. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure what runway AI traffic is going to use, but we are anyways going out of the 13 left, and this is really heading towards the mountain, and it's going to be super interesting departure. We will see it in a second. So 13 left, and then the departure route, now double check the charts, will be the Zipaquirá 4 Hotel, if I'm reading that correctly. Zip 4 Hotel at transition Bravo Uniform Victor, which is Bouvis. And there we go. And yeah, let's look at the chart together. So we are climbing out 13 left, and climbing to 9,100 feet, which is yeah, just like 500 feet above airport elevation, and then do a left-hand turn on to heading 026 with a maximum speed of 185. Let's see if that's in here. Yeah, 185 until Wurko, that's correct. And then Gaxon also with some constraints, 230, 1200, and then Sipakira 260, 15 above. And Ozuzo, we have to be at flight level 170, and then Buvis actually below 210, not quite sure why it's not in here. But regarding the last two, maybe we can clear them out if there's no traffic. But yeah, the idea is, so they limit us in speed quite a lot after departure, and that's of course due to have sufficient climb gradient to get some altitude, and as you can see around lots of terrain, so straight from the runway heading there are some terrain coming up, and then also during the departure route some further terrain. Yeah, super interesting. And initial climb clearance is flight level 210. Yeah, let's set this up already. So 210. And runway heading is 134. Now I'm very excited to see how these takeoff performance calculations turn out. 134, like that. Right, and transition altitude. Is actually 18,000, so that can stay as it is. Now let's go ahead and load in. We need to do the performance first, sorry. Performance, of course. So, zero fuel at 152.4. So not quite maxed out in terms of zero fuel weight. And by the way, takeoff weight is going to be 202 tons out of a maximum of 227. So around 25 tons shy of mixed takeoff weight. And alternate is 5 tons away in terms of fuel. So this is 5. And then initial cruise level 370. Cost index of 15. And step size, let's put this to 2000 for calculation reasons, like that. And now we should be able to load in the wind data. Right, in the meantime, we can head over for the performance calculation. So performance, runway 13 left, conditions are dry, 278 at 414 degrees. That's not quite accurate, needs to be 3038. Like that. Let's try optimum 203, that's a bit higher than planned, but that's okay, so we are on the safe side. Flap 5. And wow, is that? Indeed it is, that's toga power. Okay, that's interesting. But that is very likely, I mean the runway is long. Runway is almost 4 kilometers, 3.8 to be exact, and that is very likely just due to the reason that we really want to gain altitude after the departure. So yeah, super interesting. And so that being said, we're gonna have full power takeoff of our beautiful engines today. Speaking of which, by the way, we have the Rolls-Royce Trent engines today. Okay, so flap 5, 152, 153, 156. 156 goes in here. And then the flight directors, auto throttle, LNAV, VNAV. Cool. Okay, let's fire up the APU. And now we just need to wait for GSX to finish the boarding. Yeah, that's the left-hand turn. Yeah, looking good. We can have a closer look when we taxi out. Alrighty, very much looking forward to the departure. I will get back to you when boarding is completed. All right, and that's it. Boarding completed. I have already released the ground power. Now let's sure we get rid of the jetway and then close the door. And we have the parking brake set so we can release the wheel chocks as well. Quick look outside, everything looking good. Doors are closed, jetway is moving away. Right, and so we can ask for pushback. And before start, checklist, passenger sides, beacons, fuel pumps. I should have prepared it a bit earlier, just noticing that now. Those can come on, right one, left one, center ones. Okay, all looking good on the overhead.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
And now passenger signs are set, MCP is set, takeoff speeds, we have done those. CD pre-flight completed. Taxi and takeoff briefing, yes, and that's it. Right, I saw that the airport map is not quite accurate here. That's a bit off, but taxi is rather simple. Maybe we can pull it up here. Ah, we have these stop positions in here. Yeah, that's also something about the airport. And we will need stop position 15. So it's basically the same like in Dublin. There are certain tug release points which we are using. And yeah, now we're using 15. Let's put up the airport map and zoom in a bit. So now we are somewhere over here, and then we just, I think we're going to be released over here, take a right-hand turn and taxi down on what I believe is Alpha. Yeah, it's Alpha. Just down to the runway, pretty straightforward. Righty, okay, and I believe we are cleared to fire up, so let's do it. Starting 1 and 2. Okay, that's my bad, guys. Just seeing 15 is being yeah, facing south, and 14 would have been the better option, facing towards the north, but never mind. Then we will just take a left and another left. Down on Alpha will not be a huge difference today. Okay, but we have 2 good engine starts, so APU is coming off. And yeah, let's wait until the pushback is completed.
Set parking brakes.
Okay, parking brakes are set, trimming up to 4.75, that is. And yeah, APU's off already, so this goes to RTO. Transponder can stay on standby for now. That's all looking good.
Unlocking gear.
And flaps 5.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass speed.
Okay, and before taxi checklist, anti-ice is off. We don't need that. Just need to check. So it's 14 degrees. I believe in the clouds it will be below 10 degrees, but aircraft should handle anti-ice automatically. Recall is checked. Flight controls are not checked yet, but I also haven't fixed it. Maybe you know from the last flight we had this issue with the flight controls not fully extending to one side. There it is. But I couldn't find a way to fix it, so maybe if one of you guys know how to do it, please let me know. I would highly appreciate it. Right, but it will work. And ground equipment is clear. Before takeoff checklist, flaps are set, so before takeoff checklist completed as well. And turn off and taxi lights. Righty, just waiting for GSX to get out of the way and then we're good to go. And then we will be heading towards those mountains back there. Should be rather interesting. Right, okay, releasing the park brake. And that does not even get us going on idle power. And that's quite interesting. But it's probably quite realistic due to the altitude. Engines are producing less thrust, of course. But now we are going. Yeah, so some AI traffic coming in from the right-hand side. Now I believe they might actually be using... okay, no, he's departing on our runway. That's perfect. Okay, I was afraid, and they are landing also there. That's perfect. I was afraid they are using the different runway config, but they are on the same one, which makes it a bit easier. Okay, and left-hand turn down on Alpha. And now it's just straight ahead. All right, coming up to the runway. There's one guy coming in on the final, which we are going to let pass in front of us. I'm just wondering if we can turn down the terrain brightness, but apparently not. Okay, never mind. Yeah, and this terrain picture is going to be quite interesting when we turn onto the runway for the departure heading. A bit stuttery right now, not quite sure what's the reason for that. Okay, holding short here for a second and waiting until the traffic is through. Very beautiful, some heavy traffic, Iberia A340-600. Beautiful stuff, and yeah, now I think he should be almost gone. So let's go on the runway. Strobes looking good. Transponder is set and terrain radars on. I have the weather radar on the first officer side, but I think there should be no crazy weather around. Okay, yeah, he's off. We can see him back there. And that's the terrain coming up straight ahead. Okay, so very excited about this departure now. Let's see how the takeoff calculation turns out to be. And so we are ready to rock and roll. So let's not lose any time. And off we are. Toga. These 787 engines are very silent as always. Yeah, speeding up quite well. I think the takeoff run itself will not be an issue. Seems like we have a parallel departure up there. Okay, so after all, using quite a bit of runway here, although that's apparently Toga power we are using. Interesting stuff. Rotate. Okay, using almost the entire runway, wow. I did not expect this at all. Okay, gears coming up. Now let's focus on the flying. At altitude 9,100 we can start the left-hand turn. Need to stay below 185 knots. That's 9,100, so left-hand turn. Apparently the routing is a bit different here, but we will do the turn nevertheless. We shouldn't get too slow here. Okay, 185 through the turn. After that we can speed up to 230. And already heading into the clouds. I was hoping for a bit more scenic departure. Okay, speed 190, but we are basically through the turn now. That's good. Okay, so autopilot is coming on. And yeah, 230 is where we can go now. So the aircraft should speed up now. Let's turn those lights off and taxi as well. Yeah, it's struggling a bit to speed up here. Flaps 1. Okay, and we need to keep flaps 1 out at least until the next waypoint. You can see that the flap up buck is above 230, so we can't take them up just now. Okay, we are easily past 10,000. Not exactly sure when they would switch off the landing lights here, but let's switch them off anyway. And yeah, various cloud layers here today. But yeah, you can see, I mean, even the 787, which is a super powerful aircraft, only climbing at 1,800 feet per minute quite soon after departure. So that's really the altitude of the airport kicking in. Okay, and now we are cleared to 260 knots for the Sipakira VOR. So we can bring the flaps up. Okay, very nice. After takeoff checklist, before takeoff we have done that one, definitely. After takeoff is completed. Alrighty, great stuff. So flight level 210 is the initial clearance. We are aiming for 370, so let's start this up like that. Alrighty, and I'm gonna switch off the terrain radar. I have a feeling it's not exactly helping the FPS here, so let's put it off. Yeah, it's already much better. Okay, very, very beautiful, guys. I think that was quite a, yeah, surprisingly challenging and interesting departure. I mean, we have managed quite well in the end, but definitely more challenging than a normal departure in a 787, of course. Okay, now we are limited to this 1700, but I think we can climb higher than that. So let's delete that. Right, and now also fully speeding up to 313. Perfect, okay. Thank you guys very much for joining me on this departure. I think it will be a beautiful moment when we break through these clouds, and yeah, see you over in Madrid. Enjoy. Hello flight simmers, welcome back and thanks for joining me on the arrival into Madrid. As you can see outside, we are just in time for the sunrise. I was hoping it would come a bit earlier, but yeah, it's really just starting to get a bit brighter back there. So still something that I would consider a nighttime landing, although let's see how it is in 5 minutes. Might get bright pretty quick from now on. And yeah, we are at 11,500 feet, and not sure why this is very stuttery here, but other than that, frames are quite smooth at this point in time. I hope it stays this way. For some reason my computer really hates LatinVFR sceneries, so no guarantee that we have smooth frames down in Madrid, but we are hoping for the best, of course. And yeah, regarding the flying, so pretty smooth cruise over from Bogotá, some nice tailwinds during the way, which saved us some time. And yeah, now we are on the arrival, on the REDAF 3 Charlie arrival to be exact. And we have left most of it behind and now coming into yeah, soon into towback. It's just the waypoint in between. So towback coming up, and there's even some traffic ahead, but that's okay. He's quite some miles ahead of us. Yeah, and then we will be landing ILS 3 to right, ILS, the Zulu ILS. And yeah, I believe it's pretty straightforward really. So I've set 5,000 feet, which is our glide slope interception altitude, and we're really just cruising down there. We have some speed constraints already, so we should match 220 knots where we are slowly approaching it. And I believe, yeah, speed up is at like, flaps up, sorry, is at like 221 if I'm seeing that correctly. So let's go 222. I think that's okay. No controller would give us a bad time about this. Right, and as you can see, it's pretty much still 20 miles down until we get to the final approach. So still a way to fly. And now we're coming up to 10,000 feet, so let's switch the landing lights on. I still have the dome lights on for the setup now, but we will definitely switch them on for the final. And yeah, pretty nice weather. I mean, we have a couple of clouds, but no winds at all, or just like 2 knots of winds. 6 degrees, quite chilly this morning, and local temperature is 1010 and hectopascals is set. And yeah, so it should theoretically be a pretty nice and standard landing. Runway length is about 3,500, and yeah, the high-speed exits are at the very end, so we can, I've set auto brake too, but then we can really sort of keep rolling down the runway for a bit. Right, and yeah, that's really it in terms of a missed approach. We can see it nicely over here. We climb out and do a big left-hand turn and hold at row fix, and we will climb to, let me check on the charts, 6,000 feet. Okay, so 6,000, that's the go-around altitude. Right, and checklists are complete so far. We will have the landing checklist later on. And I've already pulled up the airport map, yeah, so here we can have a look at the setup. We are coming in 3 to right, want to exit somewhere back here. And then our gate is at this terminal in the center. Actually, I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's Terminal 4, I believe. Yeah, so a huge airport, pretty weird setup. It's all the old terminals down here. And there's a new one for the Iberia local operations, I believe, European operations. And then this is the international in the center one. Pretty fancy airport setup, actually. Right, and yeah, we can see the strokes of the other aircraft down there. Everything going really smooth, I believe. If we can already trust the glide slope, yeah, it has also already captured the ILS signal, so we are spot on the profile. Let me go flight level change. Maybe we can come in just a touch below the glide slope altitude. That would be pretty cool. Always makes it a bit harder to like intercept it straight away. Okay, and yeah, the final approach is gonna be still 14 miles. So quite some way to go, but maybe we can start to set up. So this should be on definitely. And we can work like this, or alternatively put in a bit of the floodlights. Yeah, maybe that's helping a little bit. Like that, and then over here somewhere. They are on, perfect. And down here. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good setup, and yeah, we can use the head-up display, of course. Oh, I need to set up the view, sorry. Just seeing that this is really out of line. Like that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, now it feels a bit unusual, but should be good. Getting a little bit bumpy now, but now we are a touch below the glide slope. That's quite perfect. 14 miles to go. Let's go flaps 1. Okay, and then drop back accordingly to around, oh, that was a bit far, 196, so that should do. And airport is in sight all the way down there. Beautiful. Yeah, now it's 14 miles to go. Let's go flip 5. Speed 190. And maybe we can dim that down a touch. So I think that's full brightness. Just a little bit down, like that. Maybe a touch brighter. And there's some lag spikes, of course, part of the city and the scenery loading in. Oh, and I should, of course, arm approach mode. And that's localized and glide slope captured. Perfect. So this goes to 6,000 as discussed. Okay, 10 mile final, let's go speed 170. And we need flaps 15 for that. Yeah, 2,500 and 8 miles to go, so this is really going well up to this point. Let's see, final approach speed 140 plus 5, 145. Let's slow down to 160. And yeah, it's not much wind, but a tiny bit of movement here in the air, which we can feel. And you have probably noticed that there's no ATC for this landing. There was no ATC online. I basically need to figure out how to best do it with the videos on especially long haul flights. I mean, short haul flights are a bit easier. And why are we through minimums already? That's a bit weird. That shouldn't be the case. Anyway, let's drop the gear now. And keep the flaps coming, and then 145, I believe it was. Alrighty, so taxi and turn off lights like that, and then checklist should be completed. It is. Beautiful. Oh, now I put it up here. I was not too smart to see you like that. Okay, 3 miles to go. My aircraft. Right, and now it should be fairly simple. We are perfectly on the glide slope, 2 reds to white. Yeah, it's getting a bit brighter back there. Oh, there's another airport down here. Never noticed before. And yeah, according to Boeing procedures, we will leave the auto thrust in, of course. Ooh, some leg spikes, okay. Okay, coming in nicely, looking good. Still 2 reds to whites, continue.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And there we are. Reverse. Okay, and manual braking, idle forward, and as expected there was some pretty fast slowdown here. Yeah, it's super weird that we don't see the landing lights, but from the outside they are definitely on and even illuminating the ground, just having no effect whatsoever from the flight deck. But never mind, can't change it now. Okay, flaps are coming up. Right, that field felt pretty well. I didn't look at the touchdown rate, but I think it was fairly okay. Flight time, 8 hours 51. And now we're of course speeding up with an empty 787 or a light 787. Alrighty, flight directors, landing lights, and strobes. We can see I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it makes a tiny bit of a difference, but really just a tiny bit. Super weird. Okay, transponder. And speed brakes are still up like that. This goes to off. And now let's find ourselves a gate, which will be 570, somewhere around there. Gate. Oh, there are a lot of them. Okay, 572, that will do heavy. Iberia will do, I believe. And now let's see where we are. This should be Kilo Charlie 3, leading on to Kilo Charlie 1, if I'm seeing that correctly. Yeah, let's go left. I think we'll find our gate. Should be pretty much straight ahead into that direction over there. And right, APU. And then we can do the traffic and weather and traffic. I think we can't go straight, so we will need to go. I think GSX is back there. So let's go left, and then we will. There's traffic. Never know what traffic is doing. Okay, let's go right, and then a left-hand turn, and then another left-hand turn. That will also get us there, eventually. Oh, hello. There's some grass on the taxiway. What's going on here? Oops, sorry. That can't be intentional. Okay, now I figure we take the second one to the left. And then just down to the gates. Yeah, international gates are really empty right now. Alrighty, so that's GSX waiting for us. Kind of cool that they switch on the jetway lights on our gate. It's pretty fancy. Let's switch our lights off Come on. Right, and that's it. Yeah, seems plausible. Okay, parking brake. And APU is on, killing engines 1 and 2. Cool. Checklist. And fuel pumps. Beacons, seatbelts, and the hydraulics. Like that, and then we will have the wheel chocks, external power, and ask for deboarding. Right, landing checklist, we have done that earlier. Oh, what's going on? Shutdown. Everything is done. Park brake is set. Completed. Beautiful. Now look at this, guys. This is really becoming a beautiful morning right now here in Madrid. And yeah, we have completed our flight. Maybe it would have been kind of cool to arrive like 10 or 15 minutes later. Then we would have had a nicer sunrise. But never mind. Now we can enjoy the sun coming up over the Madrid area. And yeah, we have completed another Dreamliner flight from Bogotá to Madrid. Thank you guys very much for joining me on this one, and yeah, as always, feel free to like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves. See you next time. And just a hint, I might be doing my first live stream soon. I don't have a date yet, but yeah, it might be coming up in the rather near future. But I will of course keep you posted and informed, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.